it would be later in the playoffs. Anyway, folks, we're going to wrap today's show up. A big thanks to Scott Petrick, our beat writer from the Cleveland Browns, joining us. Also, loyal listener Larry for calling in, and Long Beach Lenny, our co-host. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. Tune in tomorrow right here on your favorite station, and we'll talk to you then. Have a great day, everybody.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 60 years. We are locally owned and operated by the Stevens family. We not only clean carpet and furniture, we clean many loose rugs, including Oriental rugs. Oriental rugs are cleaned in our modern facility where the fringes are cleaned by hand, then hung in our modern facility to dry. We do not use steam cleaning to clean your fine furniture. Furniture is cleaned by hand using the same absorption cleaning used in the White House. Some furniture we bring into our plant to clean properly. We normally use 2 men on each cleaning job using the extraction method. There is nothing that would clean carpet better for our customers. Our job is to clean properly with quality first. Google Carpet Masters San Bernardino and give us a call, or go to carpetmasterssocal.com.
Hey Ryan, do we have any beer in the fridge?
Nah, I thought you got some.
The game starts in 5 minutes.
And you drank the last beer at midnight on Friday.
I wish there was a place that delivered beer.
Yes, I'm Captain Crafted. I'm here to bring you beer. That's Captain, C-R-A-F-T''D. Why? Because there's no E, just a D, as in deliver, because Captain Crafted delivers.
That's right, the Crafted Beer Store in Redlands is now open for business with great prices and deliveries of your favorite beer, wine, spirits, water, ice, and mixers. Did I mention their great prices? That's CRAFTDBEER store.com or Fred Crafted Beer Store on Facebook.com. Make it easy. Google Redlands Beer Delivery. Look for Crafted Beer.
Crafted Beer Store in Redlands is now open for business, and I'm here to deliver.
Now, here's a new concept: digital network advertising, where businesses display your ad inside their building. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, your company is going to thrive with digital network advertising. Choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your business ad or logo is rotated multiple times an hour inside local businesses where people will discover your company. Digital network advertising. DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital network advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for digital network advertising. One last time, digital network advertising. 909-222-9293. This segment is sponsored by Tammy Sutherland of Coldwell Banker Kivett Teeters Realty, where she makes it her business to put happy people in happy homes. It's Tammy Sutherland's passion to list your house and put you in just the right house that you could call home.
She made so much extra effort to sell our house and make sure that we understood every step of the way. Tammy always had our best interests at heart.
I didn't think we'd ever find a house we loved, but with Tammy's help, we did. Now I get to mow the lawn every weekend. But then again, that's why we had kids. Hey, Tyler!
Tammy did way more than we ever expected in a real estate agent. Without Tammy, we would still be renting.
So if you want your perfect house, contact Tammy Sutherland at Coldwell Banker Kivett Teeters Realty in Yucaipa, across from Yucaipa High School. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, it's homesbytammy.net or on Facebook at facebook.com/Realtor Tammy Sutherland at 909-556-2094 for Realtor Tammy Sutherland, and we thank her for her support.
The staff and family at Toontime Stereo and Alarm take this time out to recognize and salute the California men and women in uniform standing tall for our political and economic freedoms around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support has kept America strong. This message is courtesy of your good friends at Toontime Stereo and Alarm at 1000 New York Street in Redlands. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
You've tuned in to KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Welcome to the 90 Degree Show, the sports center for college marching bands, where we recap the ultimate battles from this weekend. And now, here's our host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you. We appreciate all those listening through iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, our website, our blog. If you're watching us on KCAA Radio's website or on Tiki or wherever you are on the interwebs. If you're driving in your car, you're listening to 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5. Thanks for listening. At the end of the broadcast, if you decide you like the show, then we appreciate a donation to the network. If you feel so in your heart, of course. Just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. You can go to themarchingpodcast.com to see the video of this very show and our most recent podcast release. To catch up on our podcast, you can click on the listen and follow tab and click on the channel that you prefer to listen to the show. I also want to put out there that a couple weeks ago that I announced that we are on Stitcher. We are also now on Google Play. So if you guys prefer Google Play or anywhere else, you guys make sure that you put in the Marching Podcast Radio Network and you'll be able to see us there. Tonight's show is presented to you by Block Band Music and Publishing, SAY Marketing and Promotions, blockusup.com, and Kevin Pete of Remax Patriots Realty. We hope you enjoy the show. First, I want to give a shout out to all the people that helped donate to our cause and helped the Marching Podcast get to this platform. We welcome you to the show, and we have one person on the show. We're going to do things a little bit different tonight up until the, 2 or 3 weeks before the Honda Battle of the Bands. But let me say hello to my soror and someone I live close to. If I live somewhere close to the East Coast, this would be my personal chef. But the one and only Miss Bridget Bell. How you doing tonight, Bridget?
Hey, Happy New Year. How you doing?
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I'm doing well. Good to see you.
And good seeing you as well.
And so tonight, like I said, we got a few weeks before the Honda. I think the Honda is like January 26th. Or something like that. I know it's always
27th. You're close.
Yeah, 27th. So then that following Monday we'll be talking about the Honda, and then the next week it'll be a 2-part series because it's a lot of bands, a lot of stuff to talking about. And if you have not gotten your tickets, go ahead and make sure you get your tickets for that. So tonight we're going to recap a SIAC matchup. We did not get a chance to really talk about that conference this year, but we'll be talking about Miles and Morehouse. Got a chance to see some videos of Miles, got a chance to see some videos of the house, but Bridget, the one and only, actually traveled down south to see this. Actually, a nice little funny story. I'll let Bridget tell it if she wants to. But the Miles directors, Bridget is their favorite fan out here in the United States. And so she met up with them, and they love some Bridget. But it was really cool for them to show her some love. And I know she got a chance to go down there. So we're going to talk about that. Lastly, before I go to break, I want to bring attention to the T-shirts we're wearing. I'm wearing our standard Jackson State University. Make sure that you are a part of your alumni association's people and get active in that. And I saw Bridget's, I know you're the only one on the screen tonight. But yes, Bridget hails from the great state of Alabama.
Let's go, Roll Tide.
And they are right now in the national championship game. Well, the second place, because the national champion is Central Florida, University of Central Florida.
Yeah, who told you that?
So, yeah, just a little something there. You know, I like Central Florida. I love their story. But, yes, the college football playoff championship is tonight. It's Alabama against Georgia. And, you know, Bridget is always talking about Roll Tide all throughout the year. So, yeah, she's wearing her Roll Tide shirt. So, good luck to those teams. Y'all should have went to HBCUs. I'm just playing. I'm just throwing it out there. All right, so we'll go to the first break really quick so we can get into our conversation. We'll also talk a little bit about this time of year. A lot of folks do HBCU band awards. I know I saw one with National Show Band Association and the Rogers Brothers. And we talked about both of those organizations this year, so we'll get a chance if we get some time to talk about that at the end. But please call in and talk about the show, talk about your year or whatever it is at 888-909-1050, and we will definitely take your call and we'll discuss it on the air. So let's go ahead and go to our first break so we can get right into it. You can email the show at marchingpodcast@gmail.com, tweet us at marchingpodcast, or follow our blog, blog4.themarchingpodcast.com. And always before I forget, hello, Kennedy and Alonso. Hello, kids. Hello. Make sure you're doing your homework. And hello to my wife. I always got to say what's up to the family. You want to say hello to anybody, Bridget, before we get going?
Yeah, hello to little Miss Zoe Bell. She's already in bed. We're on the East Coast. It's 9 o'clock, so her bedtime is 8 p.m. So
yes.
She's already in bed. Shout out to my wonderful kids at Edgewood Middle School. I have to represent for the babies at Edgewood Middle School. To all my friends and family, those who are listening out there, big shout out to you as well. And of course, to my Alabama Roll Tide, who's taking on the Georgia Bulldogs tonight.
Yes. Because, I don't know. I think Alabama going to win. I don't know if... I mean, I guess... Yeah, I guess it's going to be a good game. They say that Nick Saban is like 11-0 against all his assistants. And what's his Kirby Smart, I think that's his name. That's the head coach of Georgia. So yeah. We think Alabama going to win. So y'all can tune in to us. All right. And then after it's over, y'all check them out. So we'll go to our first break and we'll get into our discussion. Thanks again for listening to the 90 Degree Show.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
This is Joshua Cousin, representing the Ocean of Soul, and you're listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
The source for fair and factual information on your favorite college bands, blockusup.com. Well-written articles, in-depth band performance analysis, helpful resources for band directors, fun band-related topics, and exclusive interviews with some of today's brightest and most talented leaders of college marching bands. Visit us at blockusup.com, the meeting place for band fans and band directors.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Thanks again for listening. We'll dip into our main conversation tonight, the SIAC, showing them some love and showing love to Miles, Purple Marching Machine, and the Morehouse House of Funk. The house. That's what they said. So we're giving them some shout outs tonight. And like I said, might get a chance to talk about the awards, but I wanted to hear about Bridget's trip. So Bridget, right quick, just to paint a little background for the listeners, how did you become Miles College's #1 fan?
You know, that is so funny. That's a far stretch to call me their #1 fan, but, you know, I'm going to let you have fun with that one tonight.
Yes.
So last year, 2016, that'd have been December 2016, band directors, we all convened at Midwest Band and Orchestra Clinic in Chicago. And so prior to the days, you know, we're just now getting kind of live streaming. You're able to see our faces or whatever. Everybody can just hear our voices. They can hear the big mouth, but they don't really know the faces. So this particular year, we were still doing the podcast the normal way.
Right.
And so we were talking about Crankfest, and everybody who knows me knows that I hate the word crank. And so I proceeded to go in, especially on Miles College, because I was like, man, that's you just have to go back and listen to the podcast, some of the things that I've kind of said. So let's fast forward. We're going to Midwest Clinic. So I'm in line. You know, I'm running to some few band directors I see, and I'm standing there quietly, just kind of minding my business. And so there's a African-American gentleman standing in front of me. And so he kind of turned around and introduced himself. He said, hey, you know, I'm LeBaron McWhorter, you know, kind of telling me where he was, you know, he's teaching, and, you know, we're just kind of having a little conversation back and forth. And I was like, well, where are you from? And he says, Miles College. So to myself, I'm kind of snickering inside because I'm thinking about the podcast, but I didn't say anything out loud to him. I said, okay. So he asked me where I'm from. I was like, you know, I'm from Maryland. Used to be one of the assistants at Morgan State. You know, I'm teaching there. And he was like, you're Bridget from the Marching Podcast. You're that girl from the podcast. And I was just like, uh-oh. And so I was like, yeah, that's me. He was like, you had a lot to say about us on that podcast. I was like, yeah, I did. He was like, well, we did sit down and talk about it. He was such a gentleman. He was really nice about it. But I can kind of tell I ruffled their feathers. So I was like, all right, we can sit down and talk about it, you know, whatever. I was like, I know you probably disagree with me, but we're going to, you know, we can talk about it. So fast forward, we're going to the exhibit hall. The exhibition hall for Midwest, if you've never been, is amazing. It's every major musical exhibit is there, instrument, music, publishers, you know, whatever. So I'm walking down the aisles. I have my bag. I'm by myself walking back and forth. And so I see this, I'm like standing there looking at something. And next thing I know, I see this big shadow standing over me. And I look back, I was like, is this Suge Knight behind me? What's going on? I don't know what's going on. And so somebody says, I hear you got a lot to say about my band. And so like, I turn around, I was like, do I need to drop my bag and fight? Is literally what I say. I was like, I'm not scared of you. You all are 6'8", but I'm not scared. And so they started laughing. It was the rest of the Miles College staff. So it was Professor Snipes, Willie Snipes. It was LeBaron. He went and got his backup. LeBaron McWhorter. I think Brian Knowles might have been with them. So they're saying, they're talking. He was like, you can't say that about my band on podcast. I said, you know, I call it like I see it. I'm telling the truth about that. No, you can't say that. But anyway, we end up having a good conversation. He starts talking about how you guys can't pay me any attention tonight. Tonight is football night. So let me tell you, I have makeup, no nothing on. You got pure Bridget on podcast tonight. But you know, when I'm out in public, I make sure I represent well. He was like, I just knew you was gonna be this big, ugly chick who, you know, he just kind of started describing some opinions that people have of female band directors. But from that time on, I really connected with the Miles College band staff. And so before we left, Professor Snipes was like, no, you need to hear my band live and in person. I'm going to send for you to come and see them. I was like, all right, I'm going to hold you to that. And so fast forward to this past season, I'm originally from Alabama, so we had to go home, take care of some business. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be in the area. He was like, well, you got to come on up to this game. It's the Mason Masonic Classic. And I think a lot of colleges probably do that. They have some kind of Masonic Day, Masonic Classic, whatever. And he's like, you know, we're playing Morehouse. So that's how they actually extended to me the invitation to come on up and see them. Yeah,
that's really cool. You sent me a picture of you took a picture with Brother Snipes. I love that you called him Suge Knight because I did not know how tall he was. Brother Snipes like 6'10" or something like that.
Let me tell you, that dude is almost 7 foot. So and I'm a pretty tall female. I'm 5'10". That joker was hovering over me. Right. I was like, whoa. He's a tall guy.
Yeah, so I saw that in the picture. That's the first thing I noticed. Also, we did Chopping It Up with Brother Snipes. You guys make sure you Google Chopping It Up with Willie Snipes Jr. And he had some pictures with Jesse Jackson. And I know Jesse Jackson's kind of tall, and he was taller than Jesse Jackson. I was like, dang, his brother must be kind of tall. So that was really cool. And also because of the podcast, I've even got the chance to talk to Brother Snipes a couple of times. I even got a chance to talk to him after our show a couple weeks ago when we talked about the guy who went on the air on the YouTube and gave a response to Nathan Hamer. About what Dr. Hillier said. So yeah, Brother Snipes is really cool. Hopefully you get a chance to come out here to California and recruit some students. But love Miles, always love what they were doing. The main reason how I met Miles was because they had a fifth quarter with Albany State. I think in 2012, I believe that was. But that was one of the best fifth quarters I had ever seen. And they were on the come up, and so Miles has really fully blossomed. So shout out to them. So I'm glad that you got a chance to talk to him. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it because we didn't get a chance to talk about it during the regular season.
Joe, one of the other things I have to mention is one of the connecting factors was Willie Snipes and I were talking about Alabama. I was like, I'm from Alabama originally. Because he was like, what do you know about the bands from the South? I was like, I'm originally an Alabama girl. It's like, where? So I'm telling him we're from a town in Eufaula. And so he's like, wait a minute, I'm from the town of Eufaula. But one of the connecting factors was for us, he's had quite a bit of loss in his family. He lost his grandmother a few weeks before I met him. And my dad is a pastor here in Baltimore, but he also has a church in Eufaula. And come to find out, his grandmother's funeral was actually at my dad's church that's in Alabama. So that was kind of like come on now, we must be family or something, kind of seal the deal on
right.
On that. And I was like, it's really a small world how you connect with people and really figure out, and that's one good thing about the band world. The band world has taken me so many places. I've met so many people as a result of the connections that I've made through Kappa Kappa Psi Tau Beta Sigma and just band in general. You meet a lot of people and you find that there's a lot of connections you can make with them. And so I am really glad that I've had the opportunity to meet and mesh with the Miles College staff.
Yeah, they representing. I know Rogers Brothers, who I just talked to or just messaged with a little while earlier. They actually, their staff actually wore their shirts, and I think on the show, the Rogers Brothers show 2 episodes ago, they were flying the T-shirt. So yeah, shout out to Miles. They getting themselves out there. Oh, and Brother Snipes said he gonna get on Twitter. I said, there you go, dog. There you go. So,
we'll see about that one. He got old school with it.
Right.
He's still on Black Planet.
Yeah,
I'm only getting Snipes.
Oh, that's what's up. So let's go ahead and get into the game. Miles against Morehouse. Morehouse. I'm just put it out there now before we get too deep into it. They are on the come up. So I gotta. Well. You know what I mean. I want to ask you, I saw some girls in their band, and also they had dancers. Are those students from Spelman or the other? Okay.
They are from Spelman.
Okay, so for the people that don't know, Morehouse is an all male college, and sometimes they combine. There's the Atlanta Student Union, which is Morehouse, Clark, Spelman, and Morehouse. They all real close to one another. So sometimes I wonder if they should all combine to be this one mass band,
But Joe, I want you to think about something. So let's think about all of the smaller programs that are out there right now. So let's name some of the major schools. Let's look at Morehouse, Spelman, Howard, Hampton. Look at some of the smaller band programs, the smaller band program. There's a common denominator. Tuskegee, there's a common denominator for all of them. And I want people to really start thinking about that. You're in the enrollment process, and it's getting accepted to the school. So what I'm noticing, I'm not hard on small bands because I came from a small band program who's recently kind of grown up into the big boy league a little bit, Morgan State. But what I realized throughout the years, schools' admissions policies make a big difference for the band program. Yeah. Morehouse is not an easy school to get into. So you're already trying to recruit students, but then you got to get them into the school, which makes a huge difference. Whereas you have some schools who historically have been open enrollment schools. Pretty much you apply, until we meet our quota, we're taking people. So you have schools like no shade, but for the longest time, Norfolk State was. I don't know if they still are. Grambling. You have quite a few schools who have open enrollment, who have a little bit easier admission standards than some of these other schools. So my hat's off to those directors who are fighting through the admissions process. I know Howard is going through it. Morgan State, it has been a tough school to get into as well. So my hat's off to those schools who are kind of fighting through those processes, maintaining academic standards as well as musical standards.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, the fact that some of them are private schools.
Yes.
Like how Christy loves to remind people, before I went to Jackson State, I went to Johnson C. Smith in 96, and that tuition was off the chisel. And I remember my parents, they were like, oh, don't worry about it, just pick where you go to school. But I could see it in my dad's face, like, no, and then probably combining with how well they are with the music program, how their relationship. I remember I only got $1,200, and that was considered a full music scholarship that year, and that wasn't nothing for Smith.
But back in the day, that was it.
Yeah,
that's how much I got too.
Right. So shout out to Morehouse. I do like them. They got a little chant that I noticed, because I think I saw them last year too, and they got a little chant. They be like, the house. And I was like, oh snaps, I like that a little bit. But you got a chance to see the game. What did you think about the halftime show with Miles and Morehouse?
All right, so let's start from the beginning of it. I got a chance to go to the band room, meet the staff. I think Miles College is probably one of the most hospitable band staffs I kind of been around, especially before game time. That's like pre-game mode, usually kind of intense or whatever. But they're kind of really in kind of a chill kind of band staff. Things were together, naturally kind of flowing. So I had a chance to kind of walk over with them to the stadium, kind of see how they flow. They definitely have that family sense, that family feel that you can appreciate in the program. Morehouse came really late to the game. Sometime in the second quarter, maybe even and this game has been a while ago, so please forgive my memory. But I want to say it was close to halftime before Morehouse even showed up. But if we want to talk about halftime, clearly, the halftime show goes to Miles College, not just because they're the larger band, but overall they were the better band of the day. But there's room for growth for both programs. I saw some great things happen in Miles, and I saw some kind of things to, and I think as directors, we have to be evaluative of our programs. We have to be willing to take critique. We've got to be willing to look at the videos and say, nah, we can do this better. So, as I said, traditionally they do this coming out the end zone thing, doing talking out the side of your neck. Okay, so that's their thing. And I was talking to Snipes about it, and he's kind of saying, hey, when he inherited the program, was already a part of it. He kind of said that his president, that's one of the expectations they have. Sometimes you got to kind of shake the tree a little bit, ruffle the waters, really kind of reconsider. And it's good because their crowd kind of was into it. They kind of get into it, but they did a nice downfield drill concept from there. My challenge is that Miles don't play to the box, and so you lose a lot of their sound when they're playing. They are a better band when you see them in person, but audio recordings kind of really, really tell the story. So you lose a lot of the music that they're playing, and they're doing some good things musically on the field. They're doing some, they have grown. So since they tried to beat me up, they did take some of my, I'm saying at Miles College, you did take some of my suggestions, because I do hear some areas of musical growth. But one of the things they have to probably take a look at for this season, they're going to Honda, probably not for Honda, but for next season, is really turning those, especially how you're when you're designing the drill, whoever had especially those main melody parts, making sure they're facing the box, facing the audience. At one point, the whole band was kind of turned around, and you lost a lot of the sound. So that's one of the areas that you kind of have to kind of consider Miles College. But overall, it was a pretty decent, pretty clean show. I'm not a fan of their auxiliary. I hate to say it. I'm sorry. I know. I think Miss Tiffany Gardner is over there, color guard, and she's a very nice person. Their color guard and their dance line needs some work. Dancers were okay, not technically the strongest. As a matter of fact, I actually like Morehouse dance line better that day. I thought they were the better dance line of the day, but the color guard was kind of just out there. I didn't feel like they were an intricate part of the show, and I'm talking about Miles College. And so they're kind of off to the side. They kind of looking at each other a little bit lost when they were out there. And those are the things that makes great bands, is when everybody is in sync, everybody is on top of it, you know, and when you're paying attention to those minor details, that's what make an outstanding band performance. Those are the bands that we're like, wow, you get the overall wow effect when those things are kind of, lined up. So those are just kind of areas to consider. Overall, you know, I enjoyed their show. They're a good stand band, I will tell you that. They're a good park and blow band, and they're a good stand band, definitely.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed about Miles when they came in, I like the little neck, how they get in the end zone and be doing the neck. I like that. I'm not a fan of chanting. Rashad will tell you that, or chanting or singing. But I think, hey, I like that. I got a little crunk, you know what I'm saying, when I was watching it. But they did do a little something different. They did it in the end zone. I think they played a song. Or no, they played a song first.
Yeah, before they did the neck thing.
Yeah. So then they did that. Then they came down the field. Then the best part, I have to say, I love, and I want to be like the MEAC and the CIAA where I see this, but the hybrid style is just dope to me. And there was one part in the beginning of their show where they kept their horns and then they walked sideways.
They did.
Yeah, I like that. Because you got
it was right at the beginning of that first. I think it was right at the beginning of that first drill. And actually, I really like that. I'm with you on that. That drill concept was really nice. But then after that, that's when they started moving around a bit, and so they start losing their sound. But I'm with you. I like that as well.
Yeah, I like that, and it's probably more for bands that aren't as big, and you know they don't have the same numbers or the same like volume or whatever. I would like to see a lot more bands stay home front, if you will.
But you know, that's just your marching and your drilling technique. I think who has it really down to a science is Norfolk State. They do a great job of keeping those instruments to the box. Their style really dictates that. And so it's really, you know, it's just that you have to make a conscious effort to make sure, you know, the drill matches the music, that you're trying to teaching some alternate marching styles and marching concepts so that you're not, you know, playing away from the box. You're not losing the sound all the time. So
right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And then I like their drill. I thought their drill was okay. Miles isn't as precise as I would like to see. Like there was always like maybe someone out of line when they were in the main company fronts, or sometimes like when they would get in their positions. So I'm sure that they'll be working on that. But they just have a good sound. Like, I really like that sound.
They have that excitement factor. They really do have that excitement factor. If you combine that with a little more discipline and structure, Miles could really be a powerhouse. They definitely have the excitement factor, you know, and it's that energy that you're getting from a younger band staff. Kids were excited. Right. The kids look like they enjoy being a part of the program. But with that, you have to confine. There has to be a level of structure and discipline that it makes you outstanding in performance. And so that's kind of the element that they have to kind of change that motivation and drive just to clean that up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, definitely really, really enjoyed Miles. I've been a fan of Miles, like I said, since that fifth quarter. But I think the main thing that I'm really excited about is that they're a smaller school, they're a private school, but they were able to build the excitement to put themselves out there. It's for people to be like, hey man, I want to go to Miles. That's definitely something I would like for us to have, is more of the programs so that you're attracting more people and making more things exciting for the school. Anything to go to HBCUs, anything to help us out, you know what I mean? Because I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, but definitely one of the best things that's happening in SIAC band-wise. You know, school-wise, I don't know a lot about the school, but band-wise, they're one of the, if not the best band, probably in the SIAC. And I say if not, just because I have not had the opportunity to view all of the SIAC bands this year. I've seen a couple, but from what I've seen, they are definitely the better band in SIAC.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know Kentucky State was really good too. I know last year we had Kentucky State as like one of the come up bands to be on the lookout for. But definitely I would like to see more of the smaller bands get more pub. I know that we basically were putting things together this year in our platform, and we did a lot of the major major schools that always get a lot of the love, but definitely the smaller programs, I would like to see more of those. And I'd like to get more people to get more excited about those smaller programs so they can get on the map a little bit more.
Yeah, so I know we're supposed to be talking about the battle a little bit, but did you get a chance to talk to Professor Snipes about the movie that they have coming out, the movie documentary they have coming out? More Miles College?
Yeah, he told me about it. He didn't give me too much detail. But after a couple weeks ago, we got on the phone and talked about it.
Okay. Yeah, so they do have kind of like a I think it's called We Ready. They have a documentary, and I think the movie premiere for it, if it wasn't this weekend, it's next weekend sometime. It's coming out really soon. And so I'm really excited about the directors who are out there kind of bringing some attention to HBCU bands. It's helpful to the schools. It's helpful to the craft of what we're doing. I know there was a young lady that did Point and Drive, which kind of featured FAMU. Last year, the year before, they featured her, had a conversation with her at Tau Beta Sigma National Convention this year. So it's exciting to see another band kind of getting that national stage, national publicity, however it's going to happen. I don't know how they're going to release the movie. So that's pretty exciting for the Miles College program. Like I said, young staff, great ideas. They're kind of getting out there and kind of putting their school's name out there, which is a great thing for that university.
Yeah. We interviewed Brother Snipes. You guys can check that out. But we also interviewed Brian Knowles, who's I think one of the arrangers on the staff. So you guys make sure you chopping it up with Brian Knowles, chopping it up with Willie Snipes Jr., themarchpodcast.com. Listen to all our chopping it ups, because all of them is the bomb. The last one we just put out was Brother Gregory Drain, who is Marching Wildcat alum, but also is the director of athletic bands at Penn State. And he's a bruss.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, pledged there at Bethune-Cookman, so he's one of the scary bruss. So yes, he's really good. We actually interviewed him twice. This was our 2.0 interview with him. So we interviewed him right before he was about to take the position, and then we interviewed him a couple months back where he's actually talking about his experiences so far. You actually even tell the difference and how he sounds in the first interview, how he sounds now. A little bit more of that pressure, you know what I'm saying? A little bit more refinement, if you will. But yeah, definitely you guys check that out. But shout out to Miles. We'll take our next break now, but we'll get back, talk a little bit about Morehouse. But I'm glad that we touched a little bit about getting into the school and private school tuition and all that. We'll get into Morehouse, but it was good to see them out there, and I agree that I like their dance routines well. So let's go ahead and go to the second break, and we'll be back to talk about Morehouse, Miles and Morehouse in the stands, and we'll get into a little bit of the voting listening here for the 2017 awards. We 2018 now, but everybody's doing the awards for this past season. So let's go to the second break and listen to the 90 Degree Show. Thanks again for listening.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Hello, this is Professor Snipes with the Miles College Purple Marching Machine. You are now listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Beard from the Marching Podcast. Is your school, club, or organization looking for high-quality decorated apparel to outfit your students, staff, club, or team? Tired of the same old boring white T-shirt? Are you in charge of the upcoming fundraiser or special event, but don't really have time to troll the internet for ideas or compare products? SAY can help with design and product selection. We can even assist with ideas on conducting an effective fundraising program. SAY can help you save time and get your message heard. So call 1-800-975-3156. SAY Marketing and Promotions.
Give your brand a voice.
The Marching Podcast Network is a network of podcasts with the purpose to inspire, educate, and show positive images in our community. Our network produces podcasts about college marching bands, business, health, finances, college preparation, spirituality, instrumentation development, along with one-on-one interviews with strong role models in our community. Looking for a podcast network that educates and inspires to make our world a better place? Then listen to us. Check out our website at themarchingpodcast.com. Tweet us at Marching Podcast or follow our blog at blog4.themarchingpodcast.com. The Marching Podcast, changing the world through positive interaction.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, we are back. Thanks again for listening. I want to take this time to tell you guys about my man, Kevin Pete. Who is a realtor for RE/MAX Patriots. If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate, please contact Kevin Pete of RE/MAX Patriots. He will meet or exceed all of your needs. You can contact Kevin at 951-858-5942. That's 951-858-5942, or email him at kpsaleshomes@sbcglobal.net. That's KP, his initials, saleshomes@sbcglobal.net. All right, back to the show. I want to talk a little bit about Morehouse. So yes, we clearly agree it wasn't too much of a national championship battle between the two. But we love Morehouse. Shout out to the House of Funk. Like I said, I did like the chant they have, the house. They were doing that. But they just didn't have the numbers or the instrumentation to compete with Miles. I think that small bands, I was happy just to see them out there, but I would like to see them use like the hybrid style. But it was tough, and I think I've noticed this too. It's hard to like recruit trumpets. It seems like a lot of bands, especially when they're smaller, they'll have bass or they'll have trombones. I remember when I was at Smith in '96, we were, but we had some trombones and we had the bass, middle, low brass, it's like easy. But it's hard to recruit trumpets to have that lean line up there. So Morehouse, I could tell they were the same. They probably had a couple trumpets out there. And I did agree with you. The girls look good though. So that's why I had to double check to see if they were from Spelman or from wherever else. And I guess there was some girls from Spelman in the band too. I saw a couple of girls from the band. Only thing that I saw, I guess I usually say I don't like, but probably for them and for their numbers it was okay, was all the singing. They was doing a lot of singing and a lot of chanting. I saw them in the stands also against Tuskegee. And both bands were small, but I have to put Morehouse on the map for this. They played a march, which seems to be like that seems to be like desolate out here nowadays. Nobody plays marches anymore. Yeah. But Morehouse played Storm and Sunshine. I was like, oh, snap, which is one of my favorites. So, shout out to them for doing that. Did you get a chance to see any of Morehouse or what? And I know, we judging with only so much, but what did you think about Morehouse?
So Joe, my thing is Morehouse is a smaller band, but it's the quality that you still have to provide with those small numbers. You can't hide behind anybody when you have a small band. So I was a part of a small band program my first couple of years at Morgan, and the bottom line is everybody has to play. You have to work towards blend and balance, even with the small band, and you can't overdo it. You can't overplay. You can't try to supplement and make yourself a louder band. You can't do it. You're not going to be able to, no matter how you slice or dice it. 5 trumpets are not going to match 20 trumpets across the horn, across the field. Mm-hmm. But you got to be clean. Whatever you have, it needs to be clean. And so I'm okay with a good small band that plays well, that's executing well, good balance, good blend. But unfortunately, we just didn't get that from Morehouse. Their drill was okay. I thought they drilled pretty well, but they had the same issue about not playing to the box. So we missed most of their sound because they're kind of all over the place. So you already have a small band and you're trying to do a major downfield drill. Well, you got to kind of rethink that. You have to rethink, where is your sound going to go? You know, can those parts, you know, you have, you know, maybe one horn player that's kind of sticking out here, one person that's sticking out there. You have to really think about that as you're drill designing. It takes a little more work when you are a small band to put a good quality on the field, but I do believe small bands can put good quality on the field. I really do believe that.
Yeah, definitely. Just think you in a concert band. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that kind of helped me a little bit at Smith. I know that I was always trying to just be loud, because once you get in the stands, that is one thing we always say: play under control, and always say, you know, make sure you blend in. But when you get out there and you in the open air and you on the field, it's naturally, and a lot of the adrenaline starts going, you want to actually start like getting out of your horn. You know what I'm saying? You want to start screaming, you want to start playing loud, you want to turn into Southern all of a sudden, you know. But it's hard. It's hard not to do that. And hopefully, you know, Morehouse can get it together. Just like you, man, I wouldn't even mind if they just straight up went court style on the field and just stayed front and didn't march too much, just so we could hear everything that they doing.
You know what? And they would work well doing right across the field drill, doing a couple little box squares or whatever, facing the box. You know, when you're a smaller band, you got to kind of rethink that, rethink your drilling concept. Not sure why they have 3 drum majors. Not sure at all. I mean, I'm looking at that like, oh, that's 2 more people that could be playing. That's 2 more trumpet players for you. Right. Not sure why you have 12 to 14 dancers. I'm trying to tell you, 6 of them jokers will be in a beginning brass class. That's just me.
Right.
That's just me.
But I thought the same thing with the flags. So they actually had a dance feature, and then they had a flag feature. And the thing that I saw. So I would like to say, I would say I don't necessarily know if they need to have both, but definitely more instruments in the band. It
reminds me of that CIAA kind of style that they do too. And some of the music bands do it too, do a flag and a dance feature. You know, I see usually it's the concert selection that they do the flag feature for. So I'm used to kind of seeing a little bit of both. Like I said, I thought their dance line was actually pretty decent. Technically, they were definitely stronger than Miles College. Flag line was not good. I really want someone to do a clinic for HBCU color guards. I really, really do. I think it's needed at this point, because I've seen some of the worst color guard work this year. And it shouldn't be, because it adds to the field show. But we're losing out because the color guards just aren't great. Color guard flag lines can enhance our show so much, but it's not happening at all. So I really wish somebody would organize. You know, I see enough of these dance camps and all those things. I wish somebody would really organize and kind of take that to heart as well. The only band, well, I think Morgan does a great job with their color guard, incorporating them in the show. Of course, that's my school, and that was one of the things the director was passionate about. If he could have 40 or 50 color guards out there, he would, because he understands that concept. But I also think A&T is one of the better bands at incorporating the color guards into their show. I'm going to call out Prairie View as well. They do a great job. But of course, they had one of Morgan State's color guard guys come down there and kind of work with them as well. So it's kind of a collective collaboration. But I really like to see more HBCUs do some work with their color guards, just to kind of learn the concept of incorporating them in the show. You know, a couple little drop spins and a toss and a walk away just ain't working no more. We got to do better with that.
Right.
So have you been their band director before, Morehouse?
No, I have not. I think that's actually a good question. I think a couple years ago he was new. And I think one of the people I marched in the band with, Mara Hall, shout out to Mara Hall, she met him and said that, hey, you know, you need to make sure you interview him for something like that for the show. Where is he from? Do you know?
So yeah, I looked up his bio before we got online. I think he completed his maybe doctorate degree at LSU, maybe went to Michigan or somewhere else. So he's not an HBCU guy. I met him face to face for the first time at Midwest this year. As a matter of fact, Morgan State's band director introduced me to him. I was like, "Hey, do you know him?" And I was like, "No, that was my first time meeting him." And so he's not an HBCU guy, which you don't have to be, but you got to kind of study no, I'm lying. He went to Cass Tech in Michigan for high school, so he does have that background.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he went to Cass Tech, so he does have that background. But I don't think he went to an HBCU. I'm pretty sure he didn't. But I know his doctorate degree is out of maybe LSU or one of those other schools, Michigan. I think I saw something like that. So it was kind of cool meeting him. I don't know a lot about him, but he's not a high step and core style kind of per se college guy. So it'll be interesting to see how the program kind of shifts and develops under his leadership.
Yeah, I'm hoping, like I said, that they just get some more trumpets. Well, that's just kind of my thing.
You feel some kind of way about those trumpets.
I mean, I can't help it. I was a trumpet guy myself, and I know that in my own school, Jackson State, people are jumping on us because we ruled the sonic boom for so many years. Trump Funk did, and now they made the change with instrumentation, with all the horns and the baritones. So now you can't really hear us. Okay. But I'm hoping that they start to recruit more so we can have, like Southern, maybe 60, 70, maybe 80 trumpets next year. That would be the bomb. That would help balance out the sound, too. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. It wouldn't balance out the sound. It would overpower the sound. 60 to 80 trumpets, Joe. I think that's a little bit much, but hey, I'm going to let you have that.
I mean, that's just how it was when I was in the band. But, I'm talking other things. You know what I'm talking about. But, yes. But, yeah, that's one thing. That was the main thing that just jumped out to me. I just think it's maybe harder to find a lot of trumpet players or having folks playing that lead line. It is a whole lot of memorization where probably trombones and tubas are playing, not as the lines they're playing, maybe not as intricate, maybe not as many notes. But yeah, definitely you heard the band, but then when it was time for the melody here or there, you just didn't really hear it. So I hope that that's one of the things I think about small bands. Maybe if we get more high brass, more melody developing, that will make a difference. But I do think that you are right. You don't need 200 wins to be off the chain. It's the quality and what you have. I remember Mr. Adams saying that when I was at Jackson State. He was saying, he wanted to cut down the size because he thought we were too big. And every time we would get the big head about stuff, that he would come in the band room and start saying that we don't need half of you people in here. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Adams is a hazer. Oh, not hazer like that.
No, he's not. He's a great guy. You know what's funny to me, though? You find out the quality of a band. I always say this. You find out the true quality of your marching band when it comes time to cut band season. When it comes time to go to those tournaments, MEAC tournaments, CIAA, whatever, you find out what everybody has and where the musicianship really lies in the programs, because you can't depend on 200 people. Everybody has that same number, 25 people. Maybe 30. Sometimes they'll move it to 30, but about 25 people. And so I really find that I used to love when I was on staff at Morgan, I took the pep band out because I was like, you know what, this is going to show it. Oh, that's what the equalizer is to me for all the programs, because everybody uses their marching band music. So you find out the heart of all these programs when it comes time to take these bands to MEAC tournament, CIAA tournament, SWAC tournament, whatever for basketball.
Right. And again, Paul Adams, he's the bruss. Just put that out there. Just no more of the bruss. So yeah, shout out to Morehouse and Miles. If anybody is still left, and we're getting close to the end of the show, but yeah, if you get out there, we take your call on the air, 888-909-1050. But I think we both agree it wasn't really a contest per se. Miles just has the better band right now, but something that Morehouse can come back and try to get him with next year.
I'll be glad to see the day when, and I feel like it's going to happen sooner than later, the day that we could end up collapsing to two conferences. I feel like it's going to happen just like SEC has happened and so many other conferences. One day, I believe, really because of the economic status of HBCUs and all the things that's happening, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with a SWAC North and South and a MEAC North and South.
Wow.
And I think it will be helpful to a lot of schools like Miles College if there actually was a collapse and we all kind of pooled our resources together. I really would like to see that happen. We're getting close on it, I tell you, because everybody keep making a move towards MEAC or SWAC. So it's going to eventually happen if you ask me.
Yeah, just like the Celebration Bowl. A Celebration Bowl is between MEAC and the SWAC. And even when we talked about the Undefeated and ESPN this year, they, in their, I guess their prototype year, they went with the SWAC and the MEAC bands. And they said that next year they're going to do CIAA and MEAC band, or CIAA and SEAC bands. But yeah, that's an interesting concept, like you said, having the SWAC North and the SWAC South, or like SWAC East and SWAC West.
SEC is doing it now. Alabama doesn't play everybody. It's their first time seeing Georgia probably in about 2-3 years because they don't see everybody. The champions play each other. Mm-hmm. And I mean, honestly, we really should look towards that. That's a whole nother long conversation if you ask me.
Yeah, it is. I was just halfway thinking about some questions about that, but yeah, I'm not going. I'm not going there. So
yeah, that's a show. That's a show in itself.
Yeah, it is.
That are pretty deep.
But I am going to take the notes on that because that will be interesting to have a conversation in the upcoming year. So the last conversation I want to have with you, I want to put this out there, our folks with the Rogers Brothers and our folks with National Show Band Association are doing the awards for this year, 2017. Who was the best? Who was here? Who was there? I'm excited just because it's out there to vote and it's just out there to be the NSBA, National Show Band Association. If you go to their Facebook page or you go to Twitter, you will see NSBA, I think it's Dolce Awards. Dolce voting for 2018, and they have looks like a Google link or something like that. So make sure that you guys can go either on Twitter or just Google NSBA Dolce voting, or either on Facebook. You can vote there. And I know the Rogers Brothers have their votes up. You can go to Rogers Bros, so rogersbros.co. And it's not .com now. It's rogersbros.co, and click on the Rogers Brothers Awards 2017 tab to vote. Their voting ends on the 14th, so I think like next week. And you can check out their show on YouTube. Subscribe to them on YouTube to watch the show. Really funny show with the Rogers Brothers because like they get to curse and they get to say a whole bunch of ignorant stuff on the air, but it's actually funny. So you guys make sure you guys can vote on those. So I wanted to ask you how you felt about the voting or how you felt about the awards. I know we tried to do it here. Like when I first started, we had the People's Choice Awards, and every week when we talked about the battle, we put on the website who you think won. And then at the following week, we say who had the most votes, and then we will post a blog thing at the end. What do you think about the awards here for 2017?
Joe, when I replied to one of the posts, like, this is one of the worst polls I've seen. They're like, why? Tell us why. And as many of you know, I'm a doctoral student. I'm trying to finish a dissertation, so I'm not on Facebook and some others as much as I can be, as I usually am right now, just because I'm working on that. But I don't like the polls because they lack validity and they lack reliability. And I say that because most of the polls are created with a strong level of bias. There's a lot of bias in the polls. And so I don't like them because it's based upon who you saw. Like, how do we narrow it down to 5 bands for, okay, let's say, I'm going to give you an example. I don't know if this is one. Best drum section, Jackson State, South Carolina State, A&T, and Prairie View, or something like that. I don't know. So what's the basis for picking those as the top 5? So you already created some level of bias, and if you haven't seen all the programs, then how can we really create these polls? Not only that, based upon what? They're saying the best at what? They could be the best at being the worst. Like, what are they the best at doing? The best at precision, the best at skill, the best at crowd excitement. So the polls right now, until we get some level of clarity, I don't really care for the polls. Some of the better ones have happened when they've actually got directors together talking, and they're telling you why they've actually had these conversations, kind of come up with the top bands for the week. Okay, I can kind of get with that a little more. But the polls, like one had something like St. Augustine. I was like, good Lord, do they even still have a band? I'm like, my goodness. Some of the polls are so far-fetched. And really, because you're not posting footage of the bands, a lot of people haven't seen these bands, you're not going to get a true answer. And then people walk around with these badge of honor. We were voted the #1 band by HBCU such and such. We march really high association. I'm like, who are they? And why does that matter? So people are using that as their bragging rights when there's actually not even, the polls aren't really valid.
Yeah, so the National Show Band Association, I missed the nomination. I talked to Walter, and he said that they posted nominations, and all of the nominations went out, and then the people who responded and voted for the nominations, they took those, and that's how they made. We got 1 minute. That's how they made the actual voting pool. I'm not sure how the Rogers brothers did it, but at least I guess people are trying something. I know I felt the same way when we did ESPN, and at least they had the directors that I liked. But I still wasn't sold. It's hard to eliminate that bias, because I wanted to vote for Jackson State for everything, but who knows if that was correct?
That's your bias.
I'll
vote for certain bands for certain things too. So we got to figure out how to create polls that, like, just like you missed the surveys that went out, so did I. I didn't see any surveys to go out to nominate anybody's band or band directors. So who are you sending that out to?
Yeah.
Which says a whole nother thing. So we have to figure that out before we put these polls out here and people using them on their web pages and all that.